Hello there, and thanks for stopping by Max's Cards and Dice Dugout. This is episode 120, and in this episode, just as we did with both the Kentucky Derby and the Preakness Stakes earlier this racing season, we are going to do a replay of the Belmont Stakes, which will be taking place later today. This year they're running it at Saratoga because of the repairs and the upgrades that are going on at Belmont Park. But back, we're going to be running the race from 1982. This is not a Triple Crown winner, and this race took place at Belmont Park in Elmont, New York. And we're, of course, using Win, Place, and Show, which is a game I picked up a couple months ago. And I'm doing this as a warm-up, these three Kentucky Derby races that I'm doing as a warm-up for an upcoming project I have, which will be starting sometime later in the summer. And I'm calling that the Octogenary. More about that later. But so today we got the 1982 Belmont Stakes. It was 114th running at Belmont Park. We got the top 6 horses as rated by Mr. Pat Premo, who would rate a lot of these horses and put these cards in the old Avalon Hill game, or excuse me, not game, magazine, All-Star Replay. And this is one of them. As I mentioned earlier, it's not a Triple Crown year because we had 3 different winners of the races, and I'm a little bit tongue-tied this morning. I'm doing this early Saturday morning, the same day as the Belmont. Just wanted to get it in before the actual race later today. Okay, so the horses are already in the gate. Now, normally, as you can see, these races will start for 1¼ mile here, 6 furlongs here, 5 furlongs here. This track is not set up for a 1.5 mile race. So doing some math and looking at the distance between 5 and 6 furlongs, I can see that 10 spaces is 1 furlong on this track. So I need 120 spaces. The only way I could come up with that, where the race would start on a straightaway and end on a straightaway, was to start the horses back here. So I already have them in the gate, and I have this blue pawn signifying where the finish line is for this race. So it's not going to be the best representation of the Belmont without having much of a front stretch, or in this case, a front back stretch or a home stretch. It's not going to be the best representation, and we're going to run into trouble. I can already foresee it. Coming into the turn so quickly because the horses aren't going to be able to do a lot of maneuvering to kind of set themselves where in my mind, where they want to be before they get into the turn where you can't change lanes. So it's not going to be the best representation of a Belmont Stakes race, but it's the best I can do with the way the game is set up. So let's quickly look at the horses. Number 1, the red horse, is Gato del Sol y Delahu Sae, and excuse some of my pronunciations on these. He's the jockey. The horse has a class of 100 and a speed of 91 and is going off at 6-1. The number 2 horse is the black horse. That's High Ascent with F. Lovato up, class of 97, a speed of 90, and that's the long shot going off at 40-1. Number 3 horse is Linkage. That's the blue horse. Willie Shoemaker's up, and Linkage has a class of 98 and a speed of 91, and that is the favorite today, going off at 5-2, or at least the morning line odds are 5-2. Number 4 horse is the green horse. That's Illuminate. Jay Velasquez is the jockey, a class of 98 and a speed of 90, and he's going off at 10-1. I didn't mention that Gato del Sol won the Kentucky Derby in 92. I say that because the number 5 horse, Aloma's Ruler, won the Preakness Stakes in 1992. Jay Cannell is the jockey, speed of 93, a class of 87. And Aloma's Ruler is going off at 5-1. And the number 6 horse, which is the white horse on the outside, is Conquistador Cialo, who was the actual winner of the Belmont Stakes. Had one of the best weeks in racing history, running in the Metropolitan Stakes, or the Metropolitan Mile, and winning it on Monday, and the owner deciding to enter the horse into the Belmont Stakes for this long 1.5 mile race on that Saturday, and the horse ended up winning. Okay, so he is got Lafayette Pinsay Jr. in the saddle. If you remember when I ran the 73 Kentucky Derby, Mr. Pinsay, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, he was actually the jockey for Sham in that race. Okay, so the field is set, the horses are in the gate, and we're going to get started. Remember, we read the white die to tell us who moves first. We add the 2 die together to get our bonus number, and we also use the white die to add to the horse's movement allowance for the given turn. So here we are in turn 1, and they're off. And going first is going to be High Ascent. And on a roll of 7, that is a bonus for Conquistador Cialo here in the first turn. But first it's High Ascent, and in turn 1 he gets 8 plus 2 for a total of 10. He is the black horse. So he is heading into the far turn, although it's not the far turn yet, because we got a long way to go. Next up is Linkage. He gets 7 plus 2 for a total of 9. Linkage is the blue horse. He followed by Illuminate, who is the green horse. He gets 5 plus 2 for a total of 7. He's going to come in. Next, Aloma's Ruler gets 9 plus 2 for a total of 11. That's the brown horse. He's going to be able to move in 1. He's going to be forced to be way outside here on this first pass at the far turn. Next is Conquistador Cialo. And he gets 10 plus 2 for a total of 12, plus 3 for the bonus, and that makes his grand total 15. And it looks like he is probably going to only be able to move in 1 lane, so he's going to go 1, 2. Long trip for Conquistador Cialo. But that completes, or no, it does not complete. We still have Gato del Sol to move. He gets 3 plus 2 for a total of 5. Not a strong starter. So at the completion of turn 1, it is Conquistador Cialo in the lead. 4 lengths over High Ascent, and in third would be Aloma's Ruler. So we move to turn number 2. 3, Linkage will be going first, and the total is an 8. And that is a bonus for Gato del Sol. So Linkage will move first here in turn 2. He's going to go 8 plus 3 for a total of 11. And Linkage is the blue horse. So he is going to move in 1. That puts him in the middle of the far turn. Next is Illuminate. Gets 5 plus 3 for a total of 8. Illuminate is the green horse. He's going to be stuck in lane 2. But landed, luckily, on a passing square, which could prove helpful in the next turn. Aloma's Ruler is next. That's the brown horse. Gets 9 plus 3 for a total of 12. And is stuck in the lane it's in. Pretty long trip for that horse. Next, Conquistador Cialo. Gets 10 plus 3 for a total of 13. And Conquistador Cialo is ready to make its first pass in the home stretch. Gato del Sol gets 5 plus 3 for a total of 8, plus a bonus of 3 for a grand total of 11. Is not on a passing square. he's in the middle of the far turn. That brings us to High Ascent, will be the last horse to move this turn. He gets 8 plus 3 for a total of 11, and he's got the inside all open to him. So at the completion of turn 2, it is Conquistador Cialo in the lead. And that lead is about 5 lengths over High Ascent, followed by Loma's Ruler as we head to turn number 3. That's a 6. That's going to be Conquistador Cialo moving first. It's a total of 9. And that bonus is going to go to High Ascent. So Conquistador Cialo in turn 3 gets 8 plus 6 for a total of 14. And he's way out in front for the moment. Next is Gato del Sol. That's the red horse. Turn 3, he gets 8 plus 6 for a total of 14. He is on a passing square. Not that I don't think it's necessary. So a big move for him coming out of that first pass at the far turn. Next up will be High Ascent. Turn 3 gets 8 plus 6 for 14 plus 3 for the bonus for a total of 17. And he is the black horse. Good turn for High Ascent. Next is Linkage. Turn 3, Linkage gets 9 plus 6 for a total of 15. And he is the blue horse. Next up, Illuminate. That's the green horse, number 4. And in turn 3, he gets 5 plus 6 for a total of 11. So he is at the top of the stretch. So the first pass at the stretch. And lastly, this turn, or no, we got a few horses to go yet. It's number 3, the blue horse, Linkage. Linkage will move 9 plus 6 for a total of 15. He's the blue horse, not on a passing square. He's going to stop there to remain on the passing square. That's 14 of his 15 moves. And lastly will be Aloma's Ruler. That's the brown horse. And in turn 3, he gets 8 plus 6 for a total of 14. So there we have it at the completion of turn 3. We have High Ascent, or excuse me, Linkage way out in front. Has about a 9-length lead over High Ascent, and then in third place will be Conquistador Cialo as we head to turn 4. And moving first in turn 4 is going to be Illuminate. The total is a 10. That is not a bonus for anyone, so Illuminate will go first. And in turn 4, Illuminate gets 5 plus 4 for a total of 9. And Illuminate is the green horse, not on a passing square. Moves into the rail. Okay, so that's it for Illuminate. Next is Aloma's Ruler. And in turn 4, he gets 8 plus 4 for a total of 12. And that is the brown horse. He's going to stay in the lane that he's in. And we move on to Conquistador Cialo, who in turn 4 gets 8 plus 4 for a total of 12, is not on a passing square. Next up, Gato del Sol, that's the red horse. Turn 4 gets 8, plus 4 for a total of 12. He's going to stop at 10 to end his move on a passing square. That brings up High Ascent. And in turn 4, High Ascent gets 8 plus 4 for a total of 12. High Ascent is the black horse, is not on a passing square. All right, so he's going to be taking a little bit of a longer trip around the clubhouse turn. And lastly, this turn is Linkage. And Linkage is the blue horse. And on turn 4, he gets 9 plus 4 for a total of 13. So he's well into the clubhouse turn as we complete turn 4. And we move on to turn 5 with Linkage way out in front. And the closest horses are running neck to neck, just heading into the clubhouse turn. And that is High Ascent and Conquistador Cielo. But here we go with turn number 5. And it's going to be Linkage moving first. And we rolled a 7, and that is a bonus for Conquistador Cielo. All right, so Linkage will move first. So he's going to get to pad his lead a little bit before the other horses move. And in turn 5, he gets 9 plus 3 for a total of 12. So he's in the middle of the backstretch. So that was Linkage. Next up is Illuminate. And in turn 5, Illuminate gets 8 plus 3 for a total of 11. And that's the green horse. So Linkage way out in front. Next up is Aloma's Ruler. Turn 5 gets 8 plus 3 for a total of 11. And that's the brown horse. In the middle of the clubhouse turn and ends on a passing square. Now, Conquistador Cielo. Turn 5 gets 8 plus 3 for 11 plus another 3 for 14. And that's the white horse. And he's going to stay in this lane. Also finishes his turn on a passing square. Okay, so next up is Gato del Sol. In turn 5 gets 8 plus 3 for a total of 11. He's the red horse. And Linkage got himself out to a big lead. And lastly, this turn is High Ascent. That's the black horse. Turn 5, he gets 8 plus 3 for a total of 11. And he is going to creep in one. And end his turn on a passing square after using 10. All right, so now we move to turn 6 with Linkage having a pretty big lead in the middle of the backstretch. Nearest horse in second is Conquistador Cielo, about 10 lengths back, followed by High Ascent, and we go to turn 6. And moving first is going to be Aloma's Ruler, and a roll of 7 is a bonus for Conquistador Cielo again. So first is Aloma's Ruler. Turn 6 moves 8 plus 2 for 10, and that is the brown horse on a passing square. So he's out of the clubhouse turn and at the top of the backstretch. Next up, Conquistador Cialo in turn 10, or excuse me, turn 6. He gets 8 plus 2 for a total of 10, plus the 3 bonus for a grand total of 15. He is the white horse on a passing square. So he hops in front of Linkage and lands on a passing square, but Linkage hasn't moved this turn yet. Next up is Gato del Sol in turn 6. He gets 9 plus 2 for a total of 11, and he is the green horse, or excuse me, the red horse. And he finishes his turn in the middle of the clubhouse turn. All right, next is High Ascent. Turn 6, he gets 8 plus 2 for a total of 10. He's the black horse on a passing square. And next up is Linkage. In turn 6, he gets 8 plus 2 for a total of 10. Not on a passing square. He's going to finish his turn there after 9 to end his turn on a passing square. And lastly for this turn is Illuminate. That's the green horse, number 4. Way back here, and in turn 4 he gets, or excuse me, turn 6, he gets 8 plus 2 for a total of 10, not on a passing square. All right, so they're spread out pretty good. At the completion of turn 6, it is still Linkage with Willie Shoemaker up, and he's got about a 4-length lead over Conquistador Cialo, and then in third place is High Ascent as we head to turn 7. And going first is going to be Illuminate, and we roll a 7, and that's once again a bonus for Conquistador Cialo. So we're basically repeating the previous turn. So that was a 3 on the white, or excuse me, a 4 on the white die. I shouldn't have picked the dice up, but it was a 4. Okay, so going first is Illuminate. In turn 7, he gets 8 plus 4 for a total of 12. And Illuminate is the green horse, way in the back here. And he's not going to be able to use his move because he's stuck behind Gato del Sol, unfortunately. Next is Aloma's Ruler. That is the brown horse. And in turn 7, he gets 8 plus 4 for a total of 12, not on a passing square. Next up, Conquistador Cialo. And in turn 7, he gets 8 plus 4 for 12, plus the bonus of 3 for a grand total of 15. He's the white horse. He is on a passing square. And he heads into the far turn. Next up, Gato del Sol. That is the red horse. And in turn 7, he gets 10 plus 4 for a total of 14, not on a passing square. So he's in the middle of the backstretch. Next up, High Ascent. That's the black horse. And in turn 7, he gets 10 plus 4 for a total of 14. He is not on a passing square. He's going to stop on 13. 13 moves to finish his turn on a passing square. And lastly, this turn is Linkage. That's the blue horse. And in turn 7, he gets 8 plus 4 for a total of 12. He is on a passing square. And that could prove problematic for Conquistador Cialo going forward, depending on how these movements go. All right, so that's it for turn 7. We go to turn 8. We've got a couple horses in the backstrap, or excuse me, into the at the top of the far turn, and that is Linkage with Willie Shoemaker in the lead. 2 lengths behind him would be Conquistador Cialo. Lafayette Pinsay Jr. is in the saddle for him, and in third place is Linkage with Willie Shoemaker as we go to turn 8. Let's see what happens here. 6 is going to be Conquistador Cialo. This is the worst roll that could have happened for that horse, and the bonus is 9, and that's going to go to High Ascent. And Conquistador Cialo is only going to be able to move 1 space, so I don't think it's going to be his day. That's just some bad luck there, and maybe a little bit of bad jockeying on my part, but that's it for his move. Next is Gato del Sol, and in turn 8 he gets 10 plus 6 for a total of 16. He's the red horse. And he moves out just to try to avoid that pack a little bit. Next is High Ascent. That's the black horse. And in turn 8, he gets 10 plus 6 for 16, plus the bonus for a grand total of 19. And he is on a passing square, so he'll be able to get by Gato del Sol. And he's in the middle of the far turn. All right, next is Linkage. And in turn 8, Linkage, that's the blue horse with Willie Shoemaker. He gets 8 plus 6 for 14. And he is in the home stretch. At the top of this short home stretch, I should say. Next up is Illuminate. That's the green horse. And in turn 8, he gets 10. He's way back here. Plus 6 for a total of 16. And lastly, this turn is Aloma's Ruler. And in turn 8, he gets 8 plus 6 for a total of 14. And he is the brown horse. So that's it for turn 8. As we go to turn 9, we got Linkage out in front, the favorite, and he is approaching the wire. He's followed by High Ascent, who's about 8 lengths back, and behind him in third place is Conquistador Cialo. Let's see what happens with this 9th turn. Going first is going to be Linkage. And we roll a 7. That's going to be a bonus for Conquistador Cialo. Let's see if this can help him out this turn. But first we got Linkage moving. And in turn 9, Linkage gets 8 plus 3 for an 11. Plus the bonus of, or he doesn't get the bonus, he gets 11. So he is across the finish line. All right, next up is Illuminate. And in turn 9, Illuminate gets 12 plus 3 for a total of 15. Illuminate is the green horse. So he's just heading into the far turn. Next is Aloma's Ruler. In turn 9, Aloma's Ruler gets 7 plus 3 for a total of 10. And that is the brown horse on a passing square. Still in the far turn near the top of the stretch. Next, Conquistador Cialo. In turn 9, he gets 9 plus 3 for 12, plus the bonus of 3 for a total of 15. So it's not going to be his day today as it was in 1982. And next up is Gato del Sol. That's the red horse, number 1. In turn 9, he gets 10 plus 3 for a total of 13. He's only going to be able to move 8. All right, and lastly, this turn is High Ascent. That's the black horse. And in turn 9, he gets 8 plus 3 for a total of 11 on a passing square. So that does it for turn 9. So that means the winner of this race, the only race to cross the finish line in turn 8, is Linkage with Willie Shoemaker. So we'll put him there. So he's the winner of this replay of the Belmont Stakes from 1992, and we move to turn 10 and see if we could see how the rest of the field finishes. So in turn 10, roll a 6. That's going to be Conquistador Cialo going first. And on a roll of 8, a bonus goes to Gato del Sol. So Conquistador Cialo in turn 10 gets 10 plus 6 for a total of 16. So that's where he finishes the race. Next, Gato del Sol in turn 10 gets 10 plus 6 for 16 plus the bonus for a grand total of 19. That's the red horse. At the wire, but not across, is Gato del Sol. Next up is High Ascent, the black horse. In turn 10, he gets 7 plus 6 for a total of 13. Linkage has finished the race. Next up is Illuminate, number 4. That's the green horse. And in turn 10, he gets 12 plus 6 for a total of 18. Strong finisher is Illuminate. And lastly will be Aloma's Ruler. And Aloma's Ruler is the brown horse, and in turn 10 gets 7 plus 6 for a total of 13. So at the completion of turn 10, we have our place horse, and that is Conquistador Cialo, and finishing third will be High Ascent. So we got our top 3, but we'll finish off the race for the final 3 horses. So here we are at turn 11, and going first this turn will be Conquistador Cialo, who is not in the race any longer. And we rolled a 9, and that is a bonus for High Ascent, who is also out of the race. So we don't need that. So the first horse to move will be Gato del Sol. And Gato del Sol in turn 11 gets 10 plus 6 for a total of 16. Okay, next is High Ascent. High Ascent is no longer in the race, having finished. Linkage is also the winner. Number 4 horse is Illuminate. That's the green horse. And in turn 11, Illuminate will move 12 plus 6 for a total of 18. And Illuminate is the green horse. All right. And lastly is Aloma's Ruler. In turn 11, Aloma's Ruler will move 7 plus 6 for a total of 13. So there we have the remaining horses. Finishing 4th is Gato del Sol. 5th is Illuminate. And 6th is, 6th is Illuminate. And 5th is Aloma's Ruler. So in this replay, it ended up being Linkage, who was the favorite, at least on this card, winning this race, with the actual real-life winner of the 1982 Belmont Stakes, Conquistador Cialo, finishing 2nd, followed by the number 2 horse, High Ascent, finishing 3rd. So that's going to do it for this episode. I know it was a little slow and a little clunky. It certainly didn't help that I had to start the race so close to a turn, which didn't give the horses a lot of time to maneuver around in this area. And it did affect some of them, including Conquistador Cialo. And also ending the race with not much of a home stretch. Didn't quite work for me, I guess I'd say. But it was still a fun race to run. Not a very good representation of what a replay of a Belmont Stakes should be, but it was the best I could do with the way the Win Place and Show track is set up. So that's going to do it for this episode. If you hung around with me this morning, because it is the wee hours of the morning on Saturday, June 8th, I thank you for your patience whenever it is you watch this. And I'll be back again in the near future with another replay video. And until then, take care.